Here we go. What's up? Look at this. Got a guest tonight. So this is going to be a special vinyl happy hour for you guys. I think we're looking at season 5. I always forget episode 13. So I've been doing a little bit, but we don't get many guests on Vinyl Happy Hour. So we're going to get to that in a second. But first off, I'm Skylar Davis, owner of Culture Shock Clothing and Records and cultureshockshop.com, where you can find the records we're talking about. Also, some of your records you're going to be talking about. What's your website?
Slightly Fuzzed on Instagram.
Okay.
You can find the podcast and stuff on YouTube, obviously, and you can find the records basically from our Instagram.
Okay, cool. So we're going to be talking with Slightly Fuzzed Records tonight, too. My friend Ryan Foster's here, so we're going to have some fun with that. Anyway, we've got some drinks going on, too, but what I'm going to do is first talk about a couple brand new releases that I'm excited about that are some of the regular releases coming out at Culture Shock. And of course, you know, I like to feature those indie store exclusives, these special edition color variants and other things that you can only get at your local independent record store. Then we're going to talk about a couple other special records that are coming out through the Slightly Fuzzed label, and then a couple other reissues that are coming out in the store that I want to keep you up to date on. But the first one is a kind of a special surprise because Cave-In has been a favorite band of mine for many years. I always kind of categorized them more in the metalcore or kind of hardcore and sludgy kind of scene. Also in collaboration with Converge, if you know that band. But they've been kind of on the DL for many years. I believe it's been, 10 or 12 years since their last album. We didn't even know if they were going to put anything out. But they brought us Heavy Pendulum. And the artwork is sick, of course. This is an indie store exclusive from Cave-In. Got their classic logo here on the back. Really nice gatefold. Very cool, trippy space work. They're calling this a space rock, journey. But I mean, highly anticipated first new album in a decade from heavy space rockers Cave-In. They only did 1,000 copies on the Relapse label on this translucent gold vinyl. But they hung on to a lot of songs for this, including The Wavering Angel that ends with a 12-minute epic. It's a double LP. This looks very clearish to me from here, but it is a translucent gold vinyl. There's a booklet that comes with it as well, so you can see all the artwork inside. Nice packaging, but I don't like a lot of long albums. There's so much stuff going on in the world and so much to listen to. But these guys did it right. You kind of get a taste of all of the music they're into. We were actually just jamming it, and I was like, it's kind of surprising that it even sounds like a stoner rock vibe to it.
It's got a little bit of everything. I was digging it.
Mm-hmm. And there's some longer tracks. It's kind of got that just scuzzy rock too, and then it's metal though. There's some good ripping going on, some good kind of chugging. So it's still got a heavy metal feel for sure, but they've kind of changed it up. A little older, I guess, people kind of change it up and chill. So they gave us a double LP. And it is a good, well worth it for sure. So what is a short album, though, is the new Terror album. Also an older metal band. This is Pain and Power from Terror. And the indie store exclusive, they're calling this like a Twisted Silver Clear. So it's got this cool kind of triple panel, black, silver, clear. This is just brutal, heavy, hardcore, pretty angry stuff. I mean, it comes with a poster. Even the artwork on the label, it shows like a bunch of people crowd surfing and getting in the pit. This is a quick album though, and actually it plays at 45 speed, so it's a quick album. Comes with this huge 24 by 36 poster, and it just gives you that amazing hardcore scene of everybody jumping in the pit, crowd surfing, getting hit. So it's an aggressive release for sure. Very heavy album, very short. Like we're talking like 20 minutes almost short, which from Terror is the perfect length. This is just a ripping hardcore album. So super cool release from two older bands. I wanted to feature a couple of my picks for the week. Cave-In's definitely my pick for the week, but there was a special release that came out last week on Friday the 13th, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn it over. I want to let our buddy Ryan talk a little bit more about what he does besides his record label. He's got a few other things he's involved in and a podcast. You want to talk about the record, though, first on Slightly Fuzzed?
Sure, yeah. So May 13th, officially, Cowards and Thieves released Dedicated to Dead People.
Yeah, I'll stack that up there.
They like to call it pop music, but to me it's metal, it's stoner metal, it's kind of a mix of a couple of those things. They kind of walk the line between a few different things. There's some short songs on there. They don't go too far over like 2 or 3 minutes, but what's cool about this vinyl is they put the entire last EP on the B-side, Bread and Circuses. So you kind of get 2 little EPs in one there, so only on vinyl. to me, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
That turned it into like a full LP technically, because
yeah.
I'm sure this EP had never been on vinyl before too, right?
No, yeah, first time on vinyl. Yeah, they're stoked and we're stoked for it. So they're from Florida. Heavy music. They have another band. Two of the guys in this band are in a kind of a thrash punk metal band called No Coffin. So they're super active. They're always playing shows. Really talented. We're super excited to put this on vinyl.
Yeah, so that's cool. So that is technically, even though it's a Rockford label, Slightly Fuzzed, working with this Florida band. Had you done artwork or met them before then, or something?
We just started chatting about Bread and Circuses, their last EP.
Oh.
I told them how much I liked it, and we kind of just started talking about how to get the word out about this album they were putting together. I helped them with some artwork for T-shirts, and kind of gave them some guidance on who to reach out to and who to get reviews and blogs and podcasts and stuff, and we went from there, and we were lucky to get 100 vinyl printed.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
So this is a very limited release. This band may not have even released this on vinyl had they not hooked up with Slightly Fuzzed to do this. Yeah. It's got your printed inner sleeve. I mean, they're definitely, it's metal, but it's also kind of sludgy and stoner rock, and it's got a
short
heavy
and sweet.
metal vibe.
Yeah, they keep it short and sweet.
Well, yeah, that release only took up that one side of the album, so it's cool that you get the EP and the album, though.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for that. That's a brand new release. Of course, we were talking about another release that Slightly Fuzzed previously had out. If you want to mention these guys too?
Yeah, April 29th, I think, is when it officially came out. But Earl of Hell, they're actually from Scotland. And this is just straight up like fuzzy stoner rock. You know, this is just like fun, just fuzziness. So,
yeah, this is a lot. This is gritty. It's not really. It's kind of gritty in that stoner rock way, but it's not like doomy really or anything.
No, not doomy, but just lots of fun. They have some different things going on in it. So there's kind of like some punk quality to it, and they have one track with some keys and some symphony sounding stuff going on in it. And just
can I say real quick before I forget how awesome it was? So, well, first of all, because I'm a vinyl geek, I gotta say, playing this, especially the opening track, Hang 'Em High, as a long instrumental intro, there's no indication that it's a 45 RPM, is there? I don't think so. So it plays at 45. I started at 33. I was like, wow, this is really slow, but I just speeded it up to 45. But the second side starts with that Bitter Fruits, which is like that symphony. Yeah. And that's a really cool cacophony of sound.
Yeah, so they added a keys player kind of at the tail end of recording this, and I think that's kind of the direction they're going to go in the future. But that was probably one of my favorite tracks. I think that we're probably going to hear a lot more stuff like that in the future.
I welcome that. And then this is the Eco Mix vinyl, so you can see it's kind of variant color and stuff like that. I don't even think I talked about it, but there's another album that's out, and it's kind of this color too. So, well, that's cool, and we're gonna put a link to all of the bands and your website too in the YouTube, so you can talk about it. These won't be available in the store on our website, but they will be available in store at Culture Shock. So, if you're local, get down. Otherwise, check the link for Slightly Fuzzed. Have they been on your podcast too?
Yeah, both the bands have been on the podcast.
What's the podcast?
It's called the Slightly Fuzzed Podcast. You can find it on YouTube.
Super easy.
It's audio only on Spotify and Apple and everywhere else you get your audio podcasts. So, yeah, we just have a lot of fun. We do some fun with like funny album covers and stuff. Just goof around and tell stories and talk about the music that people are putting out. I just had Sasquatch on the podcast.
That was the last
I'm a huge fan of Sasquatch, and they're putting out new music coming up here soon. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Well, speaking of being slightly fuzzed or slightly buzzed now, I convinced Ryan to try some scotch since these guys are a Scottish band. Actually, I was like, we usually have a drink. I was like, the Aaron Malt single malt scotch. I was like, we're usually whiskey drinkers too, but he's a beer drinker too. But cheers. Man! Thanks for coming on Vinyl Happy Hour. Yeah,
appreciate it.
I was like, any reason I can to bust out some scotch, I will. That's a pretty sweeter scotch, not very peaty. I think the scotches that get real peaty are the ones that scare people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave this back. Actually, that's my copy. Don't take that away from me.
Gotcha.
But I got a couple other records I want to mention really quick because we're gonna talk about some reissues. So now we're gonna step away from metal. I got a couple jazz things and some other things. Metric, I actually love this band. They're very kind of just like early 2000s indie rock. They're doing reissue. This album's probably hard to find. 2003 was a hard time for vinyl, so they're actually doing a limited reissue on the silver vinyl. This band, they like the Cars and Gary Newman, and there's electronics and synth and stuff in it too. They kind of got lumped into like the Tegan and Sarah and Yeah Yeah Yeahs kind of sounding bands, but it's just a good all-around band. Kind of good electronic fun indie rock. So the Metric one, this is Old World Underground. Where Are You Now? And then they're probably doing a limited, it's gray vinyl. I said silver, but it's gray. But that's silver to me. But I'm really stoked. You into hip hop too a little bit?
I am, yeah.
You know Run the Jewels,
I do,
I'm sure.
of course,
Okay.
yeah, of course.
So Run the Jewels, for some reason, even like since before the pandemic, Run the Jewels 1, 2, and 3 have been like out of print or hard to find. So 1 and 3 randomly did get limited reissue. They're actually doing this thing called RSD Essentials. So there's like a group doing special limited releases to stores that are part of Record Store Day. And it's not coming out on Record Store Day though, but throughout the year they're doing releases. This is a double LP. But let me show off these stickers because I forgot it comes with stickers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Stickers are good. Oh yeah, speaking of which, some locals, if you guys come in, or guys probably send these out too.
Yeah.
From the Slightly Fuzzed has some cool stickers too.
Yeah.
And Cowards and Thieves guys sticker. But here's the Run the Jewel stickers. But we got to check out the vinyl, of course. Double LP. I mean, they did this really. So these are only for independent record stores. I don't know the number of the amount that are out, but I'm sure it's limited. But since it's a double LP, I like how they've got their hands logo that they always use. They numbered them 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 finger, and 4 finger for what side of the album it's on. So, because you can't see it, doesn't say side A and B. So I like a little attention to detail. Cool art, of course. I'm just going to leave that up there, actually, because that list looks so cool.
Yeah.
So we have those on the website. If you check the link, it's in the staff picks at cultureshockshop.com. And then we got some jazz releases. This is Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers with Thelonious Monk. He actually didn't work with the Jazz Messengers very much, but this is just a classic piece of jazz history. Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers were hard bop and then took jazz even further. It definitely took it away from that old sound, so there's a lot of rock, metal, psychedelic bands that picked up on this sound. This was that hard bop era where, you know, if you're a hip or you're a cool cat, that was that kind of hipster jazz era, and this is like this stuff that led to so many of the musicians we know. This is kind of the roots of that good jazz, the changing in sound and kind of the influence of drugs and other things actually that affected a lot of culture. So this is a special reissue of this album though, and it does have extras. It's got photos and some unreleased material, double LP. So we'll have a link to that too. This is an Atlantic release. But yeah, it's like a good variety of music coming out, like between metal, stoner rock, jazz, hip hop, so many things. And it's cool to see some of the smaller labels and even some of the local labels getting vinyl pressed. And so that's what Vinyl Happy Hour is all about, just kind of letting you know a handful of the new releases. Of course, follow us on social media, of course, if you want to find out some more of the releases coming out. We like to do a little update. And we do plan on having some more guests for Vinyl Happy Hour. So you never know. We're going to get him back on too, I think, just to kind of talk about some music.
Awesome.
So cheers, man. Thanks
Cheers.
again for being here. Drink some beer, drink some scotch. We're going to listen to some more records, so thank you guys. And